Hello, guys. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Meghna, and I'm the marketing manager at Paradiso Solutions. A little bit about Paradiso. It is one of the leading providers of e-learning services and a robust learning management system that is Paradiso LMS. Today, we are presenting a webinar on how using a Salesforce-based LMS can help you boost your sales, employee, partner, or customer training. It is presented by our technical director at Paradiso, Saj Chaudhary. Talking a bit about Saj, he is based in the Silicon Valley and has studied business from the Harvard Business School. Saj is an expert in the field of e-learning platform development and carries more than 10 years of experience in the field. He's also a frequent speaker at various e-learning conferences, expos, and business events. Besides, Such carries an extensive, almost 6+ years of experience in delivering Salesforce-based training solutions across various verticals. His solutions usually help our clients engage their sales partners and customers in training better and increase the training adoption rate. So, while you get so that you get a better ROI on your Salesforce investment. Before I hand over the webinar to Saj, a bit of housekeeping instructions. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the chat window in your Zoom control panel. We'll take up the questions at the end of the session. Without further delay, let me ask Saj to take over the webinar. Over to you, Saj.
Okay. Thank you, Meghna. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you well.
Okay. All right. And you can see my screen, right?
Yes, I can.
Let's get started. So when I look at the long attendee list here, there are various kinds of organizations I can see who are attending, and also there are those who I don't know. They fall in one of these two categories. Either you have a LMS, or you have a CRM, or you have one. Maybe you have LMS, maybe you don't have CRM. You may have them integrated, may not have integrated. So those are the various combinations out there. The idea here is, if you don't have a LMS, hopefully you'll get something out of this where you can see the value of the LMS. And in terms of the CRM, if you're thinking of implementing CRM and you have training related needs, what are the kind of things you should be thinking about integrating your training into the CRM? So that's what this webinar is going to cover about LMS and CRM, specifically Salesforce we're going to talk about, but this applies to Microsoft Dynamics, Sugar CRM, or any other CRMs you're using. Salesforce CRM, it is the widely adopted platform out there. It's much more than CRM. Of course, it does sales process automation, but also you can do partner management. You can have communities of your users, general community in public, in nonprofit sector. You could use Salesforce for customer support or marketing automation. So it's much bigger than CRM. In terms of LMS traditionally started for an education institute about 15 years ago. But over the years, it has evolved into a critical item in the IT landscape for corporate and training companies. A lot of the training nowadays is moving online, just like everything else in our day-to-day activities. And that online training is usually based on learning management system, which is the LMS. So what are the training challenges our customers face when we're talking about the sales or customer or a partner training? The typical challenge when I talk to the sales directors or VP of the sales, the typical complaint the sales executives have, which is brought up by the VPs, is the salespeople do not have time. They're running around trying to close the deal, trying to meet the quota, do not have time to take any sales training. and it's kind of catch-22. To improve your quota, you need training, but to get the training, you need to have time. And so it's a vicious cycle where some salespeople are stuck where they are. In terms of the customer support directors, when I talk to them, their customers complain about the product being difficult. But most of the time, the product is not difficult to use. It's just that customer doesn't know how to use the product. So the customer training becomes an important aspect, a solution to the challenges in terms of dealing with customers. In terms of the partners, they are eager to take training, but a lot of the partners have no clue how to access the training, where it's available, what are the certification tracks, and so on and so forth. The second thing is, second challenge we see in the training industry in terms of the four different types of training we talked about, the customer, the partner, the sales, is that, as the saying goes, if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So pretty much everything is done in Excel. So the Excels are used for reporting. So somebody will be, let's say you're training, the partner manager will run a report in Salesforce, export it as Excel, and then they have a learning management system somewhere else. They will go in there, export the data, create an Excel, then try to merge the two Excels from Salesforce and from the LMS, trying to get one single report. Let's say you want to upload your users in your learning management system, such as your new partners. You use a CSV file, Excel, upload it. If you want to sync the data from your LMS, like who has completed the partner training, you export that data from LMS, import it as Excel in Salesforce. I guess you get the point here. That's what goes on if you don't integrate your CRM and your LMS system. You pretty much depend on Excel for every kind of report or data sync problem. Second, another problem we see is the low adoption. So companies invest heavily in creating the e-learning modules, the online webinars, but they don't get enough attendees. Nobody's attending those online webinars. Not enough people are attending. Not enough people are taking the e-learning modules. So the adoption problem is one of the issues where your e-learning investment doesn't really give you the kind of ROI you're looking for. And usual problem, there is no time. This is typical forgot password. The salespeople or the partner doesn't remember how to get into your LMS because they don't have access to the LMS from Salesforce or a partner management system. And some of the users don't even know training was available. So there's a communication problem as well. Next thing is if you're selling your courses online, somebody uses your Shopify shopping cart or your online e-commerce. They purchase the courses, but they do not know how to log into the LMS and access the courses because the e-commerce system, the CRM, the LMS, they are not integrated together. And these are the kind of problems I want to help you solve in next, at least give you an idea how to solve this problem in this webinar. Another issue is if you sell a customer a course, let's say it's a beginning certification in Cisco router, just as example. If they buy that course and they complete that course, your e-commerce portal or your marketing engine doesn't know they completed the first level of course because there is no integration with the learning path. If you have the e-commerce CRM and LMS integrated, you would know somebody has completed the beginning level course, so you can start upselling them into the intermediate or advanced level course using your marketing engine if everything is integrated together. So those are the kind of challenges we see when you're trying to sell courses online without any CRM integration. So basically the solution is if your CRM plus your LMS, your Salesforce plus LMS, we have combined them together and created an end-to-end complete training solutions. So let's take a look at the different account types in your CRM. You could have your salespeople or your employees in the Salesforce. So the salespeople are interested in sales training, the product training. Your employees, if you're managing them in Salesforce, they need onboarding, compliance training, soft skills training. Your customers, these customers, if you are an educational institute, those could be your students. Or if you are a manufacturing company, these could be the users of your product. These customers need training on your product. Or if it's an educational institute, they need the course material available. So customers could be a student or any kind of other customer. Customer support and troubleshooting can be provided through training. If you're managing a partner program, then the partner needs knowledge of the product. They need a understanding of the process, how to sell, how the commission structure works, so on and so forth. Also, you could have a certification track. So as you can see, all these different types of your users have different training needs, but one or all of these could reside in your CRM. And that's your goal, ideally, to keep all your data, customer related data, in one single CRM, so you can really leverage the data you have and grow your revenue. So let's assume one or all of these types of users are in your CRM, and see how the integration could help streamline your training. So the first use case is, how does the sales...
Sarge, yeah, one of our attendees, they want to see slide number 10. They just want to go back to the previous slide.
This one?
Yeah, I think this one.
Okay. We can address this in the questions later on in the
All
chat.
right. Okay.
So let's say the sales support and internal employee training. How does the integration help with that type of user? Single sign-on. So most of your salespeople, if they're using Salesforce, Salesforce is the platform. They're familiar with Salesforce. They are there day in, day out, creating deals, closing deals, updating notes on their contact, what have you. By having a single sign-on, you solve this whole forgot password issue. So here's a quick screenshot. If your salespeople are in Salesforce, they're on their contact or they're looking at their accounts, they just click on a training tab. And what that does is that does a single sign-on. So the Thomas in Salesforce is logged in as Thomas in the LMS, and this could be the dashboard of your LMS. In fact, this is showing Paradiso LMS dashboard here. So by having a single sign-on, the whole forgot password, I don't have time, I don't know where the training is, nobody told me about it, all those issues are avoided. Here's another quick look at the dashboard when they're looking at the manager is looking at their team and where the training, what the status of their team is on the training. They can see it here. They can see what are the events, online webinars or face-to-face classes coming here by looking at the calendar. They can look at their own progress, all inside Salesforce. Your users, whether those are employee or sales team members, can browse through your course catalog within Salesforce. Or if you click on one of the courses and there is a video playing inside as a part of a course, they just click on, select a course here, click on and the course will start inside Salesforce, and they don't even know that this video, which is hosted somewhere else, they feel like this is whole part of the Salesforce, and that really makes the user experience much more easier. Second aspect is just-in-time training. It's referred as JIT. Let's say your salesperson is working on a deal and an opportunity, and that opportunity goes through the life cycle. You qualify the opportunity, you send a proposal, you're in a negotiation phase. And with our JIT integration with Salesforce, if as soon as you change the status of a lead or opportunity to, let's say, negotiation, right on the right side, there will be suggested training. Just like in Amazon, when you're shopping for one item, it shows you recommended items. Similarly, when whatever you're doing at that moment, just in time, will be able to set up the rules and recommend different kinds of trainings. So in this particular case, the salesperson is in a negotiation stage, so the system automatically suggests them negotiation training. And since the salesperson is in that situation and he wants to close that $1 million deal and really get his commission, he has self-motivation to take that training, because we are providing the training when they need it, where they need it. They want the training inside the CRM. They want the training when they want it. And by doing that, you typically increase the training adoption by 2 to 3 times, especially with the salespeople. Similarly, you can use this JIT methodology for support training. Let's say your customer logs into the customer portal based on Salesforce products. They create a support case, and based on their issue they are having, you can suggest certain kinds of training which could self-serve the customer, and they will be able to solve the problem themselves. If they're not able to solve the problem themselves with the training, of course, your support team can get back to them and work with your customer. But the idea is to suggest different kind of training related to the support case they are filing. And this, again, the customer at this moment in this platform has strong motivation to go through the training. If you just send them emails after emails, complete the training, you should take the training, so on and so forth, they never find the time. But if you suggest it at the right time, at the right place, you have a much better chance of they taking the training. So in this case, there is an issue with the Cisco router, and there is a training on how to configure a Cisco router available and suggested right there inside Salesforce. Here's a case study of the sales team taking training using our integrated platform. It's one of the biggest insurance company in the South America. They have sales agent, the insurance agent spread out throughout the Latin America. So bringing them into one classroom and giving them training is not possible because they're all over, they're in different countries and different cities. They were using Salesforce LMS and Salesforce CRM and Paradiso LMS. So with our solution, some of the problems we were able to solve is their typical complaint was the salespeople are not taking the training we invested thousands and thousands of dollars to create. So there was a low adoption. There was another issue of trying to run a report based on the training data and the salesperson's performance. They had to create 5 or 6 different Excels, spend hours and hours combining those Excels and trying to create one single report. And there were no just-in-time training available within Salesforce. So those were the problems this particular insurance company was having. So we were able to integrate the Salesforce and LMS environment using our Salesforce app. We have an app available in the App Exchange, which allows you to integrate, deploy the app on your Salesforce and configure it so it integrates with Paradiso LMS. So with that app, they were able to have the integration done. So the forgot password or I don't know where the training is, all those issues were gone because the training was right there inside Salesforce. All they had to do is click on it. Just-in-time training, we were able to create some custom triggers. So these triggers I was showing here, this is just an example. You could create any kind of trigger in Salesforce. For example, one of the trigger could be a new Salesforce join your team. So for first 30 days on his dashboard, he will see different kinds of training recommendations because he's new, he needs to be onboarded. So on and so forth, you can create any kind of trigger within Salesforce. So for this particular insurance company, we were able to set different kind of triggers based on their needs. And finally, as their salespeople started training, they were able to create an integrated report from the Salesforce. And later in the webinar, I will show you examples of reports within Salesforce. Second use case is extended enterprise integrated training. So a little bit of mouthful, but this is really a scenario where you have pretty complex training needs, where you have your partners training, taking the training, employees taking the training, your salespeople are taking the training, as well as you're selling training online to your customers. So you have e-commerce involved, you have partners involved, internal employees are involved, and of course there is a LMS which is delivering all this training. So if you have all these different kinds of user and you want to support it in one single platform, how are we able to do it? So this could be a little bit of confusing slide, but those who are advanced users on the webinar, I want to make sure they get a little bit more detail on our solution. So what's happening here is basically the data flow diagram, how the data is flowing between different kinds of systems. So what kind of systems do we have here? We could have a CMS, your website. You could have an e-commerce system. You could be having your HRIS system, which is sending the users. You could, this whole blue part here is the Salesforce part. The green part here is the LMS part. So let's look at the flow here. As an example, I'll take an e-commerce user. So your customer goes online on your website, and like let's say Udemy, they go on that online, they like a course, and using the e-commerce shopping cart, they register and buy a course. As soon as they buy the course, with our integration, that data is sent to the Salesforce. And in the Salesforce, a contact is created. Once this contact is created, that data is sent to the CRM, to the LMS, to be able to, this is where the first name, the last name, what courses they purchased, the start date, all of that data is sent from CRM into the LMS. So that user gets created right away in LMS. So once the user gets created in LMS, as soon as the payment is done, from the user's point of view, they get redirected to the course in LMS. And as soon as they get redirected, at the same moment, the user is also created in LMS, so they don't need to create the user. And they start taking course within LMS. And as the course is getting completed, at some point, the user in 1 week or 1 month or what have you, the users will have grades or course completion data. And that data is sent back to the CRM. So within the CRM, when you look at that customer a month later, you would see the course they purchased, how much of that course they have completed. And you could use that data for marketing and some other purposes. Some other aspects here I want to show is the tenant system. So let's say you're not selling to an individual, you're selling to different school districts, or you're selling to big companies. Let's say you have a training on business analysis or project management. That's the kind of training you're selling. And you're selling it to big accounts such as Walmart, Microsoft, or what have you. Each of those accounts could be tenant in the LMS. And by creating a separate tenant in the LMS, you create a separate workspace, separate system for Walmart, for Microsoft, for all your clients. So all that data stays segregated and you can give them a custom experience of the training. So the LMS, if you're selling it to accounts, the LMS figures out, does this user belong to accounts such as Walmart or Target or Microsoft, what have you. If it does, then it doesn't create a tenant. If it doesn't, then it will create a new tenant in the LMS automatically. I mean, this is a lot more complex, the real scenario when you have multiple types of users are concerned, but I just wanted to give a quick view on the data, how it flows. So if you're selling courses online, then as soon as your course is purchased, you want your users to be able to get the access to the course. You want to auto-enroll them into the LMS and be able to cross-sell and upsell. So what happens in this case is as soon as the course is sold, that data is also sent to the CRM through our integration. Also, that same data goes to LMS as well, so your students can take the course. And by sending the data about course completion to CRM, you're able to cross-sell or upsell to your current customers. These are the different kinds of e-commerce platform Paradiso supports, and for any other platform which is not here, if it has an API, we can easily integrate it. And the idea here is to give ability to your users to buy courses online. So if you're doing customer training using this platform, your customer data is in your CRM. All that data can be synced with the LMS. And what this does is it helps you to reduce the number of tickets filed. It also helps train your customers on new products or services. If you're using our solution for partner training, you can increase the access to the information so your partners can sell more for you. You get a better knowledge retentions. You can create certification paths for your partners. These are the different kinds of reports which are important for your users. For example, if you are using our system to run sales training, then you want to be able to run a report. How many salespeople have enrolled and actually completed the training? A lot of the salespeople enroll, they complete half of it, but they don't go through all the training. So you can create these reports easily. And the reason you're able to create these reports is because the salesperson's data is in CRM, but the course completion data actually resides in LMS. But since these two systems are integrated, you can run one single report from Salesforce, and which will give you this report where you are able to see the salespeople who have enrolled but haven't completed the training. You can also run a report after, let's say, 6 months or a year after deploying the solution to see, well, all these salespeople took all this training. Let me see the salespeople who took the training, did they achieve bigger quota? Did they achieve higher revenue? And you'll be able to run that report using Salesforce itself with a combined solution. Traditionally, you would have to combine 2 or 3 different Excels to create these kind of reports. The second use case is the customer, whether it's students, it could be your customer or student. For example, you could run a report finding out what are the most popular courses, or how many users took training in a particular time slot. You can have a relationship between training and support cases. You can find the impact of training on support cases, because if you're using a Salesforce product to manage customer support, then you know how many support cases they have filed. And from LMS, you can see what kind of training they have completed. So you could run a report where you can see the impact of training on support cases. And for your partners, you could similarly run reports in terms of what kind of training the partners have bought. If the training is paid, you can see what are the most popular trainings, so on and so forth. So as you can see, reporting and user management are 2 big benefits of the integration. Salesforce community in the last few years has taken off. A lot of universities use it, customers, various verticals, finance, manufacturing, they use it for their partner community, for their user community, customer community. So we do integrate with the Salesforce community. So if your users are in your Salesforce community, they will see a button called training. They click on it, and they would be sent to the LMS, the learning management system, with a single sign-on and start taking training right there. I want to spend a minute talking about Paradiso LMS, a little bit about Paradiso, and then take some questions. So Paradiso LMS, it's a cloud-based LMS, and one of the features we really focus on is the usability and ease of use. And second aspect is the multi-tenant system. If you have different kinds of users you're supporting, Paradiso LMS is an extended enterprise solution where you can have multiple tenants. We do integrate with various kinds of web conferencing software such as WebEx, GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar, Zoom is pretty much all major players we integrate with. We do have advanced reporting, gamification, interactive videos, performance management for your employee training, learning paths to set up different curriculums or certification paths, CRM integrations, ERP integrations, and of course, security is one of the areas we constantly focus on, especially being in the cloud. We have integrated with 100 plus enterprise applications. Salesforce is by far our most popular application. After that is WebEx, but we do integrate with Oracle, SAP, Microsoft Dynamics CRM, Sugar CRM, marketing automation software such as HubSpot, MailChimp, Google Cloud, Office 365, as I said, about 100 plus integration, out of the box integrations available with Paradiso LMS, and that's one of the areas how we differentiate from our competition. And you can go to our website, www.paradisosolutions.com. And there's a lot of resources available on the resources page, ebooks, videos, webinars. On the solutions page, you can find more information about Salesforce LMS here or e-commerce. With that, I would be Meghna will be reading the questions, and I will be answering those one by one.
Thank you, Saj. We have quite a few questions with us. So we have Jim who asks us about the Salesforce community integration. He says that we have our customer community based on Salesforce community and are interested in providing training to our customers. So do you support Salesforce community integration?
Right. So yeah, we do. And basically what would happen is, so the Jim's customer, when they're on the Salesforce community, we could have a banner there, a button, however you want to present it to your customers. They'll be able to click on that training button or a banner, and that would take them to the LMS where they can take the training.
Okay. Next question comes in from John. He says, do you support SAML for SSO, single sign-on between Salesforce and LMS?
Right. So SAML,
SAML.
SAML is one of the most popular protocols, security protocols we use for single sign-on, and it's supported by Salesforce as well as by Paradiso, and that's how we do the single sign-on between the two systems. So we do support it.
Okay. How does your multi-tenant system work for partner training? Does each partner get their own tenant?
Okay. So you have multiple ways to configure this. If you have a sophisticated big partner program with hundreds of partners, and each partner may be getting some general training as well as special training, then you want to put each partner into separate tenant. So what happens is, as soon as you create a new partner account in Salesforce, that triggers an event in LMS and creates a separate tenant. So each partner will have their own tenant. So when they log into LMS, you could even have a branding which is for that particular partner. You could have courses just for that partner. So that's how the multi-tenant system works with the partners. If you want all the partners to take all the same training and you don't want to differentiate between the partner, you don't have to use a multi-tenant system. But if you do use it, it's all automated from Salesforce point of view.
Okay. We have Mike who asks us, what data can we bring over from the LMS to Salesforce?
Basically, all course completion data. So once the user is creating LMS, the student goes into LMS, start taking courses, start completing assignments, participating in discussion forums, attending online classes, attending classroom classes. So all these activities the student is doing. In your CRM, which is Salesforce, wants to know what is going on with my contacts, with my students, or with my customers. So every night or every few hours, however you configure it, all these activity data from LMS is sent back to the CRM. So those include course completion data, what kind of courses the students have completed, their grades, how much time they have spent in LMS, what was the last time they logged in, what assignments they submitted, are they late on any of the course compliance courses, all kinds of data, whichever data you want from LMS to be synced with CRM can be sent back to the CRM.
All right. We have Trevor who is asking us about purchase subscriptions. Would we need to purchase subscriptions separately, or do you offer package deals, as in pay Paradiso and Salesforce separately?
Yeah, well, basically, you will have to get a Salesforce license, which is pretty easy to buy, and you pay separately to Paradiso. With Paradiso, we'll have the entire integration with with Salesforce and LMS, as well as LMS as a one single subscription. But Salesforce subscription needs to be purchased separately from Salesforce.
All right. And one last
Just to add
question.
to that, we are a Salesforce partner, and we do work with Salesforce as well in terms of customization, support, implementation, so on and so forth. But the purchasing of the licenses is a separate item. Yeah.
All right. Saj, one last question over here. Do users from LMS automatically get created within Salesforce as contacts? I think we've answered that.
Yeah, they do. So both sides, the synchronization happen. If you create a new contact in Salesforce, that gets created in LMS. Similarly, if for some reason you have users in LMS and you want to send them back as contacts in CRM, your Salesforce, you could do that. And you have ability to either have bi-directional user sync, where both the direction is happening, or just from Salesforce to LMS, or just LMS to Salesforce. You can configure the system the way you want it.
Okay, it looks like we have covered all of our questions. Sach, is there anything else you wanted to cover up before we wrap up?
No, if you can just tell them about the
Yeah,
recording and
all right. So the recording of the webinar will be, and the link to the slides will be available to you via email shortly. And thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here. Do not miss out our next webinar. We have the next topic we'd be covering would be using e-commerce for e-learning, which will be on 31st October, same time, 12 p.m. EST. Thanks again. If you have any questions, please drop in an email at marketing@paradisosolutions.com. And thank you for joining. We'll see you next time. Thank you, Sach.